All right, so we're back with the LQ review. I am LQ. This is where we talk about movies and video games and TV and comic books and all the geeky stuff that we love to geek out about. Today is my review of the first episode of the new DC streaming TV show, Doom Patrol. So, as I always do, I'm going to give you what I like, I'm going to give you what I don't like, and then I'm going to give you my rating. And my rating is going to be yes, you should see this. No, you should probably skip this, or you should roll the dice on this one. You might like it, you might not. First, let's talk about the good. Doom Patrol is a pretty familiar concept. It's a show about a bunch of outcasts who live in a mansion with a professor in a wheelchair who teaches them how to hone their powers. Yes, that sounds very familiar. But unlike X-Men, this has a bit of a darker twist. X-Men has Professor X teaching the mutants how to use their powers. In Doom Patrol, everybody living in the mansion with the professor are people who were rescued by the professor, people who were going to die, but the professor saved them. And as a result of his intervention, they have powers. And most of them have a curse that comes with that power. So the first part of the good side of the cast is Brendan Fraser as Robot Man. Now, when we see the origin of Robot Man, and we actually see Brendan Fraser playing the role, this is not a likable character. And I'm actually really surprised that Brendan Fraser was able to sell it. But definitely not a likable character. He's a NASCAR driver, very full of himself, has a lot of pride, a huge ego, but he's in a toxic marriage. Him and his wife have a lot of toxicity between them. There's a lot of resentment and a lot of anger, and he's actually cheating on her with the nanny, with his daughter's nanny. And we actually come to find out that there's a lot of unfaithfulness in this relationship. But he is in a car accident, and he is thought dead by the world. And the chief, the professor, is able to bring him back, but he's able to bring him back by putting his brain into a robot body. Sounds silly, I know. But Robot Man really kind of becomes the heart of this team in a lot of ways. Not really the heart of the team. He is the center of the team, though. He is the center. He is kind of the main narrative in this episode. And what's really cool about it is that you've got a character who finds his humanity after he loses his humanity and becomes a robot. So I'm really anxious to see where they take this arc in the future. He has a cool scene near the end of the episode where he's able to put his powers on display, which includes super strength. But the good is Robot Man. This is a really interesting character so far. Also good is Elasti-Woman, Rita Farr. She's got a great backstory, an actress who, again, was unlikable. They even make some hints that maybe she was a little racist. They don't come out and say it, but they make some hints at that. Very unlikable person. She has an accident, falls into the water. We don't really know what happened to her while she was in the water, while she was on the set of a movie she was making. But when she comes out, her skin starts melting away, and she realizes that she has these new abilities that are definitely a curse. As far as what happened to her in the water, we don't know. Her origin is still very unclear, and I hope they go into that a little deeper. And as far as her abilities, they still really haven't expanded on her abilities a lot, and I hope they do that. Rita Farr, good character, though. Negative Man, played by Matt Bomer, is also a good character. He is actually what I would consider the heart of the team. He's able to bring everybody together. He's able to kind of he's the rallying point for the team. I think he's the one that's been there the longest, but he's definitely kind of that rallying point. He's always viewed himself as a monster. So before he even got his abilities and his curse, which we're still not too sure what they are, we're not too sure what his origin is, what gave him these abilities, and we're still not too sure what his abilities are. So we definitely need to see some more growing and some more progression in that storyline. But he's always viewed himself as a monster before he even had his change. And there's some reasons for that, and I'm not going to spoil that, but he's definitely kind of the heart of the team. The bad. The character Crazy Jane. I was not into this character. I did not think that that this character was executed well. This is a character that has 64 multiple personalities, and each multiple personality has a distinct superpower. But it just seemed like they were doing a bad split impression of James McAvoy. None of her characters seemed too distinct from each other, and they didn't go deep enough into any of them for us to really understand what the differences were. Another problem in this was the villain. We don't know who the villain is. We saw some glimpses of him in the very beginning and the very end, but he's got an undisclosed power set, an undisclosed motivation, and I'm sure they're going to go into that as the series goes on, but so far in the first episode, we really don't know much about him. So, the rating. Good, bad. I'm going to say good. I'm going to say see it. Especially if you like the Netflix Marvel shows. This is DC, not Netflix. But if you like the Netflix Marvel shows, I would recommend it. And I would recommend it if you're a fan of Doom Patrol, if you're a fan of DC Comics. This is very good. This has a very adult bent. There are swear words. There are a lot of adult content in this that I don't necessarily feel belongs in a DC Comics show, including some frontal nudity, which I just don't think it belongs in a DC show. But they do a pretty good job of catching the spirit of the Doom Patrol. So I say I recommend it. I can't wait to see where they go next. And that's my review of episode 1 of Doom Patrol.